Just a little over 100 years ago, August 9th through 17th, 1924, more than 4,500 scouts from 32 nations and members of the British Commonwealth gathered north of Copenhagen, Denmark for the Second World Jamboree. The 56 scouts and 4 adults representing the United States were handpicked by Chief Scout Executive James E. West based on various criteria, including their proficiency in scout skills, knowing that there would be a competition among the numerous countries represented. We'll learn more about the 1924 World Scout Jamboree in this edition of Artifact of the Week. No one knows the origin of the word jamboree. Some sources say it comes from the Swahili word yambo, meaning hello. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary says it was first used in 1861 to describe a noisy or unrestrained carouse or party. Other sources say it could have Hindi or even Native American roots. It's reported that Baden Powell was asked why he chose the word jamboree to describe the 1920 World Scout gathering in England, and he replied, "What else would you call it?" Regardless of how the name came about, jamborees conjure up specific memories and feelings for scouts around the world. Following the success of the 1920 World Jamboree in England, the small but important scouting country of Denmark was chosen as the site for the Second World Jamboree to be held in 1924. There were some concerns that the relatively small Danish Scouting Association could successfully pull off the massive undertaking of hosting the event. The site selected was in Irma, London, a few miles north of Copenhagen. Scouts began to arrive on August 7th, with the first official day listed as August 9th. The opening ceremony was held on August 10th, with Rear Admiral Carl Carstensen acting as personal representative of King Christian X. One of the innovations of this jamboree was that the organizers wanted all of the scouts to remain organized in troops and patrols and to stay in tents, unlike the first World Jamboree where scouts stayed indoors. This is the way jamborees have been conducted ever since. Baden Powell arrived after opening day. The scouts greeted him with a parade, and just as BP was about to speak to the gathered scouts, it started to rain heavily and part of the camp was evacuated, with the scouts spending the night in local homes. A second innovation in the 1924 World Jamboree was the Scout Skills Competition called the World Scout Championships. 14 countries entered the week-long competition, being challenged in the areas such as camp inspections, hygiene, discipline, campfire songs and yells, folk dancing, swimming, handicrafts, an obstacle course, and a 24-hour cross-country patrol hike. Urban legend holds that the Scouts of the BSA won every event. However, that is not the case. They did do well enough across all of the contests to score 181 points and beat the Scouts from Great Britain by 9 points for the title of World's Greatest Troop. It was reported in the November 1924 issue of Boy's Life. The leader of the British troop, which lost to the championship to America by 9 points, writes thus in The Scouter, a British Scout publication. The winning team seemed to be made up of boys of a higher general standard, possibly than our British Scouts. Quite intelligent with good cooperation. They deserve to win. Hearty congratulations to them on having done so. For their efforts, the Scouts of the BSA were presented with 9 trophies. Here at the National Scouting Museum, we have 4 of these trophies on display, including the Silver Kings Cup for the World Championship and the Silver Cup for National Games. Based on the photo in the September issue of Scouting Magazine, we also have the silver base for canoeing and a second silver cup, which is inscribed First Præmie for Cano Sport, which translates from Danish to First Premium for canoeing. The BSA came in first, Great Britain came in second, Hungary in third, and Norway in fourth. Upon their return to the United States, the Scouts of the BSA were hosted at a dinner in New York City, where they were presented a medal for being a member of the World Championship troop. On display here at the museum, we have the medal presented to Alexander Marks of Troop 13 from Montgomery, Alabama. Although James E. West did not attend the 1924 World Jamboree in person, he did let President Coolidge know of the success of the BSA Scouts in Denmark. You will be happy to know that cable dispatches just received announce our Jamboree troop has been awarded World Championship in their week's competition with 30 nations in scouting activities. The Danish press highly commend splendid scout-like spirit and manliness of our boys and indicate that your wish that our troop contribute to the well-being right thinking, and true living of the whole world has been remembered by our boys. President Coolidge replied by telegraph, "Thanks for your telegram regarding the American Boy Scouts. Hope you will extend to them my congratulations upon their victory and the fine impression they made in Europe. It is a wholesome example to set before the people of America." Two other artifacts from the 1924 World Jamboree that we have on display here at the museum are these Jamboree badges. While recognized as the badges of the Jamboree, they actually served a primary purpose, allowing each participant to gain access to their meals during the event. Each badge had the participant's registration number stamped on it. On display, we have badge number 2, which was issued to King Christian X, badge number 1 being issued to Baden Powell himself. King Christian was a strong supporter of Scouting and was the silent hand that helped make the Second World Jamboree a success. Both of the King's sons were Scouts, and his son Knud later became the president of the Danish Scouting Association. This photo shows the King with BP during the rain-soaked welcome that was staged for BP's arrival. We also have badge number 476, which is on display below the Jamboree guidebook. Interestingly, these badges, which look like the Danish flag, were made of silk. When Scouts returned home, they would sew them on their uniform to show they had attended the Jamboree, but unfortunately, when the Scouts' uniform was washed, the fragile badge could not take the abuse, so many were severely damaged or destroyed. The final two artifacts we will look at are the Merit Badge Sash and the Eagle Scout cloth patch. Before the 1924 World Jamboree, Scouts wore their merit badges on the sleeve of their uniform. For the Jamboree, the BSA decided that each Scout attending the Jamboree should have a special 2-column or 3-column sash to display their merit badges on. Also prior to the Jamboree, Eagle Scouts only had the Eagle Scout medal for their rank. For those who had earned Life and Star, there were cloth patches that were sewn on the uniform above the left pocket. It was decided that a cloth patch for Eagle Scout would be more practical for the active Scouts while they were participating in the Scout Skills competition. Of the 56 Scouts that were selected for the Jamboree, 54 of them were Eagle Scouts. One was Star and the other Life. When they completed the pre-Jamboree training camp, the remaining 2 Scouts were awarded their Eagle Scout. It was also decided that the new Eagle Scout cloth patch should be worn on top of the sash above the merit badges. The construction of the sash and the embroidery of the Eagle Scout patch were unique, and only 60 of them were produced. We have 3 samples on display here at the museum. After the troops' triumphal return to the United States, the Merit Badge Sash became a part of the official uniform and went into full production. As for the Eagle Scout patch, this design also became part of the official uniform and remained in production from 1924 to 1932. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of Scouting America through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.